Welcome to the Monday, February 2nd meeting of the Montpelier Design Review Committee. We will let members and staff introduce themselves.
Rebecca Owens, member.
Meredith Crandall, staff.
Stephen Everett, member.
Martha Smirsky, member.
Eric Albertson, member.
Okay, good. At this point, we'll let Meredith review the remote meeting procedures and process.
Okay, I'm going to keep this relatively short because everybody on remotely is either a committee member or an applicant. Okay, just making sure that that's showing right. All right, so for anyone viewing tonight's design review committee meeting via ORCA Media, you can participate in the discussion via the Zoom platform through either video or telephone access options. If you want the full video experience, I know it's really long now, please type this Zoom link into your browser. Alternatively, you can call into the meeting using this phone number, and when prompted, put in this meeting ID and passcode. If you have any problems accessing the meeting, please email me at mcrandall@montpelier-vt.org. For those attending via Zoom, turning your video on is optional. We do ask that everyone please keep your microphone on mute when you're not speaking. This will help reduce background noise. Reminder that the Zoom chat function should only be used for troubleshooting or logistics questions. Questions or comments about items on the agenda need to be made verbally, and you'll need to, well, I don't have any members of the general public on. If anybody does come on, please make sure to raise your hand and wait to be called on by the chair and before you start speaking. In the event the public is unable to access tonight's meeting, it will need to be continued to a time and place certain. I'll now hand the meeting back over to the chair.
If everybody's had a chance to review the agenda, do I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
This is Martha. I'll move to approve the agenda.
This is Rebecca. I'll second.
All in favor of the agenda, speak your names.
Martha.
Rebecca.
Stephen?
Eric.
Okay. The next item is the annual election of chair and vice chair, but since Ben Cheney is not here, we will push that to the end of the meeting or postpone it if necessary. We'll move forward to the first application for 1 West Street. Applicant owner, Greenway Living LLC, review new vents for renovated kitchenette.
Yeah, Kristen Cantu isn't on yet. She might come on, but like, we discussed before the meeting started, and Eric, you weren't here for this. If the committee feels like they can approve the application for the new vents without hearing more from the applicant, then you're free to do so. If you have questions that you really need answered by the applicant, then it can be postponed until the next meeting. So it's up to the committee members as to what they feel. I will pull this up for, hold on one second. Let me scroll to the right pages so that Eric can see if he has it. Yeah.
This is Martha. I think it's so straightforward that I would feel comfortable going forward tonight.
Okay. I think there must be a consensus. The only thing that's going to show on the outside of the building are the 2 small hooded vents that are black colored against a gray background. Mm-hmm. And they're behind a tree on the side wall towards the back of the property. Does anybody have any comments, questions, or suggestions? Otherwise, I'll go through the criteria.
I have a comment. I actively work for them right now, so I think I will stay out of this one just because there's 3 of them, right? 3.
Yeah, with Eric on, there are 3 members.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Number 1, exterior design and materials of new construction or alterations of existing buildings shall be consistent and compatible with the characteristics of the existing building or other properties in the district. Additions and alterations to non-historic and non-contributing structures shall respect and be compatible with existing patterns and setbacks found in adjacent buildings. This is acceptable. Existing buildings shall be recognized as a physical record of their time, place, and use acceptable. Proposed location and appearance of all utilities, mechanical equipment, trash, storage, and fencing shall be cited to minimize adverse visual impact or adequately and appropriately screened from public view acceptable. Alterations to buildings called for by public safety, accessibility, and fire codes shall be designed to maintain the character of the construction materials and features to the maximum extent feasible, acceptable. Architectural features, including but not limited to cornices, windows, shutters, fan lights, entablature, trim, and other forms of molding or character-defining detailing prevailing on the existing building, shall be considered in the alteration of the building acceptable. And that's really all the criteria that apply. Based on that, all in favor, speak your names.
This is Martha. I say yes.
Eric,
And Steve says yes, so it passes 3-0 in favor.
And you got here just in time for the vote. Sorry. Yeah,
Hmm.
they didn't end up having any questions.
Okay.
So,
That's all right.
oh, it's okay. It's okay. I hadn't copied you on the email, so I had just sent it to Kristen.
As long as you're here, you
Yeah,
can sign the,
sign the form and then everything is, all I's are dotted and T's are crossed. So yeah, no recommendations. So we should be able to issue the permit out tomorrow, for the
pretty
zoning.
straightforward with those
Yeah.
2 vents on the outside of the building.
We felt that we could go forward.
Yeah, one of those ones where it's
Thank-
like, I'm not allowed to do it, but
Thanks for coming.
thank you. Sorry to make you run down. Now you can go and get back to whatever you were doing.
We can move forward to the next application for 100 East State Street. Threshold Community, L3C, Thomas Stearns. Changes to 4 windows and the front door. Is someone here to describe the application?
I am.
Oh,
Can you hear me?
yes.
This is Hannah Bryant. I'm working for Tom. I work for Helm Construction Solutions, and I'm serving as an owner's project manager on this project.
I am just trying to tweak my PDF of this a little bit, Hannah,
Okay.
so that I can then share images that are needed, but you can
Great.
go ahead and like start talking about it if you
Great.
want, and
Okay.
just let me know where you want me to go for the images that you need.
Sounds great. So this is the second time this project has been in front of you. As we have gotten into some of the demolition, we've discovered that some of the elements that we had hoped to salvage or repair in kind are not salvageable. We've also found that now that we have a licensed plumber and electrician on the project, they have raised a number of code issues. And so I'm coming before you today with, we've actually added in 2 additional windows. So your proposal here has, let me think about that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 windows. I'm sorry. And a door. And then Meredith suggested that since we're coming before you anyway, we'd love to just get your approval for electric outlet and hose bib locations, because we are required to have electric outlets adjacent to each of the exterior doors and new hose bibs on each of the facades as well. So I can't see what you have exactly in front of you, but Meredith, do you want to just wait until you're ready and screen share?
You just tell me which, you want me to
Okay.
just start at the top with the first
Yeah,
windows
let's just
we
start at the top,
discussed?
and I can just walk
Okay.
it through.
Yep.
It'll be pretty quick. So if you want to start at the page with the site plan.
Nope, I can do that.
Okay, there you go. So 100 East State Street, as you may be familiar from your previous, from the previous presentation, is up kind of close to the Vermont College of Fine Arts, but you don't actually see it as you're coming up East State Street, and you only see it as you're coming down because the house is up and to the left, kind of set out of sight from the road. It is a very large, formerly residential home that had been converted to be offices, and it is now being converted back to being a residence for up to 20 people. We are subject to the dormitory code, or the group living, congregate living code in the zoning code. So this is new for many of us. There haven't been a lot of instances of group living that doesn't come with some sort of additional programmatic constraint, such as a treatment facility. So we are mostly trying to keep everything we can, except the things that have already been altered. We're trying to change back to being closer to what we anticipate the original conditions were. And in general, trying to retain all of the architectural elements we can. The exceptions to that, I would say, are the window location. Thank you, Meredith. If you want to scroll down to that next page. On this east elevation, if you scroll down just a little bit more, Meredith, you can see that the original opening to that window, what matched the partner window next to it, but at some point had been infilled with a much smaller window. So we would like to restore that original window in its full opening and choose the muntin pattern that matches the other windows on the house. One note of clarification is that the elevation drawings you're seeing on the top right here are not drawn with accurate window muntin designs. So most of them are a 6/2 pattern, which is pretty distinctive, with the exception of what you're seeing in the photos on the top left, that's kind of a 3-season porch conservatory space, and that has a different muntin pattern. I'm happy to take questions as we go or at the end. What do you prefer?
This is the side of the building that if you were to look at the front of the building, it would be around to your right. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so in that elevation on the top right, you'll see that the main entry door is on the left.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. And then Meredith, if you scroll down, I believe let's see. Now we're looking at the rear facade. This side faces the forest and is not visible from any other properties or public rights of way. But the windows that we had hoped to retain are in the 3rd floor, circled there in red. You can see that it looks like at some point somebody switched one of the windows. And so the muntin patterns go in opposite directions, but we had hoped originally to just take that out and turn it. But once we really got up there, we discovered that that window is so badly damaged that it really isn't repairable. And we are hoping to turn that area into a bathroom. And so our contractor really recommended that rather than investing a ton of money and trying to rebuild single pane wood windows, that we would be better served by getting fiberglass wood windows for that space, which are more durable in high humidity environments. Any questions about that?
If you did the vinyl windows, the vinyl would be on the exterior of the building?
We're not proposing any vinyl. We are only proposing fiberglass, which is very different. I'm happy to speak to that if you have questions, but both the proposals, there's one proposal that's exclusively fiberglass, and then the next window. So these ones are proposed to be 100% fiberglass because they're in bathrooms. And that's what's recommended in that environment. And they'll have tempered glass, which is also required when you're going to be within 5 feet of a shower. And then when we get down to the kitchen windows, those are proposed to be a fiberglass clad wood window. So it would have fiberglass on the exterior and then wood on the like a wood core and wood interior.
And I think I saw that you're suggesting using a mold pair
Yeah, so
instead of 2 separate windows, and that makes a lot of sense
okay.
because it comes as one unit, and
Yep.
I don't think there's any issue with that.
I appreciate you saying that. You jumped to my next page. So Meredith, if you'll scroll down one page, I did include a question, 2 pages, sorry. I did include a question for, I guess, I'm sorry. I submitted this in 2 clumps. And so Meredith asked for more information for you folks. So then she has very nicely woven it all together. So my question for the board was what you had just addressed, which was that we would prefer for that 3rd floor rear facade location to use a mold pair, primarily for ease of installation and maintenance. But as you can see, it is currently 2 separate windows, just separated by a small piece of wood trim, and we're willing to do that also if the board prefers that. But it sounds like you think a mold pair would make a lot of sense there.
Especially if that's going to be in that particular location, you end up with a better result, I think, as far as stability and maintenance with the mold pair, because there's one frame around it.
Yeah. That was our feeling as well. And we do intend to retain that wood casing on the exterior, so it helps to reduce some of the vulnerable joints if it's a mold pair versus introducing an additional vertical piece of casing.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments about the mold pair for that location?
Fine with me, it's Eric.
Yeah, there's a lot of head shaking, so I think you're good, Hannah.
Okay, great. Thank you. If you don't mind just scrolling up one page, that I wanted to address this bathroom window as well. So this is further information of the 2nd story bathroom window that you saw earlier on the east elevation. And this is another condition where we are proposing an entirely fiberglass window, because it will be almost a couple of inches will be in the shower stall there. We are proposing here that this is a casements operable style, but we would put in the check rail and the muntin pattern, so it would still appear as a simulated divided light with interior spacers, but it would be operable in case of egress with that casement style. Does this committee have any questions about that?
That's the one where they infilled and to be smaller, and now they're gonna make it
Exactly, and
the
now we're gonna
original
open.
size.
Yep.
No, I think that's fine. It gives the appearance is the same as the historical appearance, and you're meeting some safety and code regulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I checked, I was a little dubious, so I've checked out this style and went to see, if it really looks like a double hung window, and I felt like it was definitely, it met my standards, and I think for a 2nd floor location set far back, I think it's going to be entirely convincing. If you want to scroll down, Meredith, we can keep moving through. So now we're a little out of order here, but we did want to talk about the front door. The front door is one element that was not on our original scope of work. We had intended to keep it, but code requires that it has to be changed so that it can open out, whereas it's currently an in-swing door. It needs to be an out-swing door. And as the contractors looked at it, they determined that trying to disassemble it and convert it to an outswing door was going to really cause a lot of damage. If you could scroll down a little bit more, I've got some pictures of the current conditions. They just didn't think that the existing door was going to be able to withstand that modification because of all of the existing damage. And so they really strongly recommended that we replace it in kind. And if you scroll up one page, the replacement that we would prefer would have glass. We can do a solid wood door that matches it, but we would prefer to be able to have glass so that people can see who's coming and going. This door does open into a vestibule, but given the high number of occupants that we anticipate living here and the desire to have this be a very active community space with lots of events and lots of guests coming and going, the sense was that it would be really nice if people could see who was on the other side of the door when they're opening and closing, and that this would be a more welcoming residential quality.
I really feel it strongly that it would be important to have something that is in kind, as you mentioned.
Mhm.
So I would strongly recommend using a solid wood door.
The solid wood door.
Yeah.
How do others feel about that?
I have a different opinion that I agree with you about being able to see through a door in a public space that requires a lot of people coming and going, and it feels like that's a safety issue to me. And I think what you've selected here is nice.
What about using a half glass door with 2 vertical panels instead of 2/3 glass with 1 horizontal panel?
I think that makes sense, so that we still retain that that kind of symmetrical vertical divider there.
So that because the two side lights are long vertical glass,
Mm-hmm.
and the current door has 2 long vertical panels.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of a compromise might be to do a half glass up top and then have 2 vertical panels down below.
How do others feel about that?
And that way you're maintaining the verticality of the visual and also have enough glass to see through for
Mm-hmm.
safety and any code requirements.
That makes sense to me. It's Eric.
Yeah, I also like that because I agree in that I don't want to lose the verticals, but I also
Mhm.
understand why the glass is nice. So I like that idea.
Okay.
Could I ask, do you have any preferred door companies in this area? We're definitely not feeling like we're getting as much diversity of styles as we had hoped for. So I'm curious if you have any, maybe you can't say recommended, but anybody that you're familiar with who does really nice solid wood doors.
Brosco through most of the local lumber yards
Yep.
makes some very nice doors. And they have some beautiful, if you want a wood door, solid wood door, they make a beautiful fir
Okay.
door, which is really beautiful. It lasts really well and it finishes nicely.
I think that's what I had on my last house. So I will take a look at that. And Simpson will take a look at as well. I was wondering if there was anybody else that I wasn't familiar with in the Northeast here. So I will take a look at Brosco. Thank you.
I mean, I have some connections to, this is probably a custom size, and
Uh-huh.
whether that is something that Brosco would facilitate easily.
Uh-huh.
Otherwise, more local sort of cabinet maker people that
Well,
I
that's-
could imagine.
Do you know what the exact size of the door is?
I don't know off the top of my head. I have it in my files, but not super quick. Yeah, it is definitely a custom size. We're hoping that if we can't reuse it in its current location, it would be a beautiful table or something inside. Try and keep it on the property. Well, it sounds like, I'll just say what I think I've heard, which is that this group would be mostly okay with keeping half glass, but as long as the wood below maintains that center verticality as well. So it has 2 vertical panels as opposed to 1 horizontal panel.
Okay.
Does that sound accurate?
That's how I understand it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Hannah, that ultimately the recommendation form from the committee will have whatever sort of conditions that they all agree on in a vote at the end on
Okay.
it. And usually there's like a reading of what those will be before the vote at the end. So
Okay.
we should probably keep moving because you got
All
some
right, sounds
things.
Do you want to scroll down?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Kitchen
So these
window.
are the final kitchen or the final windows that we're proposing to replace. These are kitchen windows. These were also not part of our original scope. These are at the back of the house. One opens into a screened porch. So only one of them is very visible from the rear facade. And these are the windows that we're proposing to use a fiberglass clad wood window. Meredith, if you scroll down a little bit more, I've got pictures of the existing location. So you see one there in the screen porch, and then a little bit more to show the current situation. Oh, there's the window specs that you were looking for. So the current situation is that the counter comes across and covers up the bottom of the windows, and one of the windows is broken and needs to be replaced. And so as we were looking into replacement and replacing the counters, it seems like this would be a great time to shorten up the bottom sill, raise that bottom sill a little bit while maintaining the header height and the width so that we can get windows that are a little bit more protected from kitchen counter activities. We do anticipate this kitchen is going to be extremely busy as it's the sole kitchen in the house that will be shared by all residents. So we're trying to kind of invest our money right now in making repairs that are likely to last and be durable in the long term and not just recreate the same vulnerabilities that these windows are already in. Is there any other pages on those windows, Meredith?
I'm scrolling to try and figure out because I don't.
Have it actually
No,
up
we go
here
to the
too.
outlets.
Nope.
So
Okay,
yeah, I don't think we have anything on
Okay.
what you would do to fill in.
We didn't get
shortening.
so we would do the exact same style. It would be a 6/2. We didn't have time to get a new CAD drawing from the window distributor for this one. So it would be a 6/2, but we're proposing to raise that bottom sill by 8 to 10 inches, and then maintain everything else.
Wait, are you lifting the granite or putting in a thicker mullion at the bottom of the
No,
window?
we would just put in a decorative wood panel underneath. So we would leave the granite and we would not infill with brick, but we would just make kind of a decorative wood panel. We're thinking it would be similar to the wood panels. You can see that there's panels underneath the screen and the screened-in porch there in the photo on the left. There's also panels underneath, well, not so much that one, that's just the door, but to the right in that photo. There's a number of conditions where, like under the windows in the 3-season glassed-in porch, the windows don't come down to the ground and there's wood panels that go around under those. So our carpenter was saying that they could just recreate kind of that decorative feature. And this is something that we have not had a chance to detail in great detail because it was a last minute addition in time to get the submittal to you folks. So admittedly, it is not drawn out.
Based on what your thoroughness, I'm assuming it's like a frame and panel with some like coves on the side that give it
Yeah,
some true decoration versus
yeah. Well,
just
we
a
would match
whiteboard
what's
slapped
existing on
on
the
the window.
house. So we wouldn't add anything fussy and ornate that's not already existing elsewhere in the house in similar conditions.
But you also
Oh.
wouldn't go the other direction and just put a white board that's flat.
Yeah.
Yes, no, I mean, if it's only gonna be 10 inches, then you have a small panel.
Yeah.
And you could trim it with some molding
Mhm.
very similar to what's on the little porch there.
Mhm.
Because those are flat panels with a molding going
Mhm.
around.
That would be my preference. I think this is a pretty utilitarian space. And so I would lean toward keeping it simpler on the rear facade. It seems like traditionally things are more ornate on the front facades and the more public faces and tend to get simpler on the rear facade.
Well, 10 inches doesn't give you a lot of room to be fancy.
Right. This is true. Not without looking really silly.
Is everybody okay with the panel below those windows to accommodate? the
Sounds like
kitchen?
a good solution to me.
Good.
I think so too. I think it's funny that it will look similar to what the front door that we just said no with the horizontal panel.
All right, let's move down to electric outlets. This is the exciting part, guys. Saving the best for last. This building code is triggering us to install electric outlets near every exterior door. So I had a little heartache about this, but I'm pushing it. So here's that center top window gives you an example of a wood panel underneath a window elsewhere in the house. This is where we're proposing to put outlets. I tried to locate them in the most discreet places possible, and the outlet that we're proposing actually recesses into the wall. So it's a fairly low profile. It's not one of the big, 3-inch clear plastic domes that sticks out. And so one would be effectively behind that blue bucket in the panel below the side light next to the front door. On the side facade, we would be looking at the side porch recessed into that wood panel below the window. Back screen porch, we do need to recess that one into the brick, but that's within the screened porch. And then the rear door, we're looking at recessing it under the little milk delivery door in the alcove, and then locating one next to the basement door. Any questions or thoughts about how to do this well?
I appreciate your attention to detail and recessing them.
Thanks.
And it looks like you're not going to be going through any of the brick. Is that correct?
We do have to go through the brick in 2 locations. So to call that out, one is at the back screened porch, and the second one we are proposing to go through the brick, next to that basement window, because the foundations are granite. I felt like it was better to go through brick than to core through the granite, both in terms of the actual getting a hole through that material, but also in terms of long-term repair. Thinking about the guidelines, it is easier to replace brick in kind than it is to patch granite. So that was my line of thinking, but I'm definitely open to different perspectives.
For this kind of a utilitarian thing, I have no problem with going through the brick, this Eric.
That's good, because we're going to ask you to go through the brick more. Ooh. All right, Meredith, you could scroll down whenever you're ready. So the last part is new hose bibs, and this time, so I want to call your attention to this existing hose bib. This is the only hose bib on the house currently, and it does create this efflorescence that you can see, that staining. So we are proposing to go through the brick for new hose bibs because it feels to me preferable than going through the granite. But my proposal, and Meredith, you could scroll down so they can see where it is. Oops.
Nope, I don't know as I have.
Oh.
Uh-oh, did I somehow miss it?
I have. Oh, interesting.
Hold on. Let me go
You know
back.
what?
I'm not sure you sent me.
I don't see it in the proposal, but I know I did it. Well, let me walk you through it.
Can you do a share screen, or you should be able to if you have it up on your screen. Otherwise, I can just go to the
I think that actually, I'm remembering now, this was another last minute addition. If you want to keep it at that photo of the rear facade. I don't think that we had strong opinions about where it went. I think we know that we need to have one on each side. We are proposing to add a second one right next to the existing hose bib next to the basement door, because that is the sides closest to the garden, and the property is intending to have very large food gardens and grow a large portion of their food and community food on site. And so we wanted a second hose bib facing the gardens. But other than that, we need to have one on each facade, and we didn't have a strong opinion about where they went, but we are proposing to mount them on a like 8x8 hose like spigot block, just to try and keep that spigot off of the brick to prevent that efflorescence. And so that would just be, a block, maybe routed edges and painted probably white to match the wood casing, but trying to give it a little bit more protection off of the brick.
Howard, this is also the spot where the new electrical box is going, right?
The electrical box Yes,
Let me
you're
go.
talking about the spot right by the basement door.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the electric box would probably tuck in next to a window casing or the door casing.
And then the spigot would go where?
The spigot is existing.
Oh, okay.
So, our electrician will choose where it needs to be, but I don't think that there's necessarily, maybe the electric box goes up just a little bit, so it's in line with the spigot so that the water's not directly above it.
I worry a little bit about how you fasten that wooden block to the brick and seal it so that moisture doesn't get between the block and the brick in a inconvenient way, but I'm certainly
Yeah,
it's a good idea.
we don't have to do that. We could do exactly what is existing. I think we were just trying to figure out how we could mitigate that efflorescence
Yeah,
so that we're not repeating it on all the facades.
yeah. I mean, I'm fine with the treatment. I just worry a little bit about its longevity and how best to do it.
Yeah,
But somebody else, I'm certain, has thought about that.
The frost-free spigots are usually in a brass, and they look. I think that looks better against the brick
okay,
rather than an 8 by 8 inch white block, whether that's either wood or AZAC or clear or something that's not going to rot.
okay.
And the other thing you can do is you can get a frost-free that's got an extended spigot coming away from the building. So if it's splashing down the building, you can get one that sticks out a little further. And if there's a location like this one where it's staining the building.
Okay.
And the other thing, if you're required by code to have the outlet above the faucet, you could also move the faucet down to one of the bottom
Yeah.
bricks. One of the bottom bricks and then move the outlet up above.
Yeah, I'm sure our electrician has been studying. I don't think this is a specific dormitory code. He has been studying aspects that are unique to the dormitory code, but he will absolutely make sure that it is located in a code compliant location.
Also suggest that even the outlets that you put in, if you are cutting a brick so that you can sink an outlet into
Mm-hmm.
to keep it flush with the wall,
Mm-hmm.
brick wall, a dark bronze color usually looks much better because a white one will stick out
Oh
in
yeah,
the middle of the brick run much greater.
I agree.
Depending on the size box you require, usually you can fit one horizontally in the
Yeah.
width of the brick.
Yeah, that definitely looks better. And the company that makes these low profile outlet covers makes them for all different materials. So they do have a brick specific outlet as well as one that's for, stucco, all sorts of different
Oh, good.
applications. Well, thank you. Thanks for your patience as I ended with the most exciting element. Do you have any questions for me?
I don't think anyone does. If anyone does, speak up now.
No questions. I think it's a good job of planning the project.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes. No, a lot of thought went into it.
Did indeed.
And again,
Um,
our only recommendation was that the front door replacement would be a half glass door with 2 vertical panels below the glass to be more representative of what's there now. And then we also agreed with your suggestion of the modification of the 2 kitchen windows to accommodate the kitchen requirements with a trimmed flat panel above the existing granite sill.
And I heard that some or all would prefer not to have a blocking behind the hose spigot, but would prefer just an extended hose spigot to mitigate that efflorescence. Is that
Yes.
accurate? Great.
Either way, I think,
Okay.
this is a very utilitarian addition to the building, and So a little panel behind it is not gonna bother me.
I appreciate your pragmatism.
If you were to do a panel, it would be better to have it some color other than white, which would stick
Okay.
out like a wart on the wall.
Yeah, I always hesitate to try and paint to match brick because there's so much color variation even within a single brick wall. But I agree that even that dark bronze paint, something could really recede from kind of being a visual attention seeker.
You would be surprised that most of the really good paint stores with a brick chip can match the brick pretty darn close because we do that for graffiti.
Oops. The expertise we gain without seeking it.
So I can go through the criteria for this project. Again, number one, the exterior design and materials of new construction or alterations of existing buildings shall be consistent and compatible with the characteristics of the existing building or other properties in the district. The removal of historic materials or alteration of features and spaces that characterize an historic property shall be avoided. Character-defining features, finishes, and construction techniques or examples of craftsmanship that characterize an historic building shall be preserved. Deteriorated character-defining features shall be repaired rather than replaced. Where the severity of deterioration requires replacement of a character-defining feature, the new feature shall be replaced in kind. Any treatments that cause damage to historic materials, including but not limited to chemical or physical treatments, shall not be approved. This project is acceptable. Existing buildings shall be recognized as a physical record of their time, place, and use. Any new development shall be differentiated from the old, but shall respect and be compatible with the massing, size, scale, architectural features, detailing an overall character of the primary historic building and nearby historic properties. Acceptable. Proportion, compatibility of relationship between width and height of facades, as well as relationship of width to height of windows and doors. Acceptable. The visual patterns established by the alterations of solid walls and openings, windows and doors, in the facade of a building shall create a rhythm. This project is acceptable. Architectural features, including but not limited to cornices, windows, shutters, fanlights, entablature, trim, and other forms of molding or character-defining detailing prevailing on the existing building, shall be considered in the alteration of a building. Acceptable. And lastly, windows and doors on historic structures. Character-defining window and door patterns, placement, sizes, proportions, and original features, such as trim, sash, and moldings, shall be preserved to the extent possible. When preservation is not possible, such character-defining windows and doors must be rehabilitated or replaced in kind. Windows and doors that are not character-defining may be replaced, but such replacements must be compatible with the historic building style, materials, and architectural features. Acceptable. All in favor of the application with the recommendations we had made, speak your names.
Ben,
Eric,
Rebecca?
Stephen?
I'm gonna be a no on the door issue. I really feel strongly that it should be a solid wood door. I understand the issue about safety, but you're looking at two side lights there too. So, I understand I'm in the minority, but sometimes that happens.
No, that's okay.
The rest of the proposals are fine with me.
So Hannah.
Yeah.
Steve's writing because he has to put a record of the votes on the form.
And then what are our next steps? Do you need me to come in and get anything?
Not yet.
Okay.
Um, s- give me a minute because I think Steve's making sure that the forms
Okay.
are all filled out. Okay. So do you want to give the conclusion of the vote?
Yes, the vote was 4-1 in favor, so the application is approved. And the next step is,
Yep. So I will scan the recommendation form and send it out, and Tom will just need to sign on that he agrees with the recommendations, because those recommendations will become conditions of the zoning permit. So I'll scan that, get that emailed around. He needs to just sign, get it back to me, and it can be, a photo of the back page.
Okay,
And then we'll get that permit out as quickly as we can.
sounds
and
great.
there's
He
a-
is out of the country for
Okay,
the next
just-
week and a half.
Okay.
So if you need an immediate signature, I can sign on his behalf. Otherwise, he'll be back.
Okay,
on the
yeah,
11th.
either one is, I mean, you guys are the ones with the
Sounds
timeline,
great.
but, it's approved, so the zoning permit will get issued once I get that signature.
Sounds great. And then do we need to do anything, Meredith? Do I need to submit a door to you before I order it? Or,
I think that makes sense. I mean, the condition stands. If you were to put a different door in, it would be a violation of the zoning regulations at that
Right,
point.
right.
So, if you submit it to me, that's great. That's
Okay.
not going to be a condition of the permit. There's fewer conditions that I can lay on an administrative permit than if it were to
Okay.
come from the DRB.
I
So,
think there's a 16-week lead time on doors, so I'd like to
Okay.
just get your sign off
Yeah.
before I order it.
that sounds great.
Thank
That
you.
sounds just fine. That's a good way to handle it. And then, yeah. And there's, I mean, the appeal period's just 15 days, so.
Okay,
I will have a new blue notice card once the permit's issued, so you might want to pick that up and be able to post it on the building as soon as possible after that, but I'll make sure to include you and Tom in that email when that's ready.
fantastic.
And we'll need the signature first anyway, so.
Thank you all. Thanks for your time.
thank you for coming and good luck with the project.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Take care. Bye.
We can either do the look at the election of chair, vice chair, or we can go, has anybody had a chance to look at the minutes?
I was not in attendance, so I didn't look at the minutes.
It was Ben, Martha, and Rebecca.
So you've got 3 to
Yep.
vote on it.
And I think I actually made the change to the design review committee minutes too. As long as one person in attendance was at the meeting, everybody can vote because you can always review for typos. We ran that through legal and made those changes in all my committees because I was like, no, you're gonna approve the minutes.
Okay, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes for the December 15th meeting as written.
I second.
So in favor, speak your names.
Ben,
Eric,
Rebecca?
And Stephen, minutes are approved.
Thank you.
So we can look at election of the chair and vice chair.
Everybody else is opposed to it.
You willing
I
to
don't,
stay on?
I don't hear anybody jumping forward to take over either position. So are you willing to
Stick it out for a little
stick
bit
it out
longer?
on one more stretch?
how long is the stretching?
So so it's annual election of officers, and let me just take a look and double check because I think I have. So you're gonna have to forgive me. I've got visual stuff kicking in for my migraine mornings, but I don't have my pills with me, so it's kind of hard for me to actually read right now. If I have this right, your term expires in October.
Is upcoming October?
This is upcoming October. October 2026 is when you're, if you wish, up for reappointment.
Okay.
So,
Well, I'm happy to do it through then.
Okay.
And then I'll consider what my
where things are.
more things are in October.
Okay. So yeah, somebody will need to nominate and second, and
I make a motion
vote.
that we elect Ben as our vice chair.
I'll second. Rebecca.
All in favor of Ben as the vice chair, speak your names.
Martha,
Rebecca.
Stephen,
Eric,
there we go.
there you go.
And then do we get to do the same?
Does somebody else want to be chair? I'm not hearing anybody speaking up.
Make a motion that we elect Steve as our chair for the next term.
Okay, I'm willing to go along as long as I have a backup who's there.
I'm willing back.
I'll
second that.
Yep.
All in favor of me?
Hold on. Weirdly, you and Eric expire in September. Things got a little jogged. I think probably I will try and have, when these come up, including Ben's, I'll just try and have them all restart in September so that there's 3 for 2026, 2 for 2027, 2 for 2028. But so yeah, Steve, you and Eric, your terms expire in September.
Okay. Okay,
So we might just have you put in for reappointment in September as well and just have those all loop starting in September. So I don't have, at some point, we may readjust everything and have everybody's terms expire in the same month of the year, just different years, and sort of so that, like, my design review, it's all September. DRB is all April, like
Yeah.
easier to keep track of, and
Okay.
whatever comes up next too. But if we can at least have in 1 year, people's terms all expire in the same month, that'd simplify things. All right.
okay. Does anybody have anything else?
I make a motion to adjourn.
We're here a second.
I'll second. Rebecca.
All in favor of adjournment, speak your names.
Ben?
Rebecca.
Martha,
Stephen,
Oh, did we already lose you, Eric?
Eric's already
He's
adjourned.
muted.
Meeting is adjourned.